Alright guys, we are now 3 months into the year of 2023, but how is the Championship League table shaping up for this calendar year only? It goes ahead and gives us an idea of who are the Championship sides banging form at the moment and who are those who we have to worry about who have started out the new year on a bad note. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like. We will be going through each Championship club and how many points they've picked up in the calendar year of 2023 so far. Has it been a good start to the new year or not for you? Let me know down below. But without any further ado, let's jump into it. And it's absolutely no surprises to see who's coming at the bottom of this table. QPR, the only Championship side yet to win a match in the calendar year of 2023. 10 games played, 0 wins, just 4 draws in that time. They have been the worst team in the Championship so far, and literally the only thing keeping them above water has been their form in the first few months of the season when they looked half decent under Beale. I compared this QPR side to the Hull team of 2019/20 in yesterday's Championship Roundup video, and there are some scary similarities between those two teams at the moment. Hull back in the 1920 season were flirting with the idea of the playoffs for the first half of the season, and they completely capitulated in the second half of the season, ultimately only winning 1 of their last 20 league matches. They went on to finish the season rock bottom of the table, and at the moment I have those similar fears with this QPR side. Huddersfield's win against Birmingham on Neil Warnock's debut remains to be their only win in the calendar year of 2023, and this speaks to the fact of why they found it so hard to gain any ground on those teams above them. 10 games played in the calendar year, just 1 win and 6 points to show from it at the moment. There are some big games coming up for Huddersfield, but as of right now, that bottom 3 is looking quite set in their ways. Very similar issues with Blackpool. They've only picked up 7 points in the calendar year of 2023, also with only 1 win. Each of the sides down at the bottom of the Championship have been fairly draw heavy, and in terms of it's been really difficult to get those proper results over the line in terms of all 3 points. Blackpool's only win of the calendar year so far coming against Stoke City, and this far into the season, barring maybe those 2 performances against Stoke and Burnley, I've not really seen that many sprouting ideas of what McCarthy has really instilled in this Blackpool side compared to when Appleton was in charge. Birmingham are one of those sides who have been dropping like a stone in 2023, only winning 2 of their 10 matches during this calendar year. There really felt like there was a little bit of a new life that had been breathed into this Blues squad at the start of the year under John Eustace, but they've sort of reverted to their previous ways over these last few months, and this year especially has been really disappointing so far for them. Fresh off the news of the point deduction, Reading don't find themselves on the greatest vein of form in this calendar year either. 9 games played, so less than some of those others that we are comparing them to, but just 8 points on the board, so they are averaging less than a point per game in the calendar year of 2023, and obviously when we take that potential point deduction into consideration for them, it does make for some quite worrying reading. Right now, Russell Martin is probably one of the most under pressure managers in the Championship, and the form table sort of backs up why that's the case at the moment. 19th based on the calendar year of 2023, just 2 wins from their last 10 matches. A side who I think a lot of us expected to be flirting in and around the playoffs this season has completely fallen in on themselves in the second half of the season. Wigan's improvement under Sean Maloney can sort of be seen by these numbers here. Only 3 losses from the 9 matches they've had in the calendar year so far, but 5 of them ending as draws, just 1 win, obviously the same as both Blackpool and Huddersfield, who are also in the relegation zone with them at the moment, and draws aren't going to get Wigan out of this mess at the moment. And what speaks to their biggest problem, only 6 goals scored so far, which is the fewest of the calendar year along with Blackpool. Cardiff, we've obviously spoken about in the relegation picture for the vast majority of the season. The fact that they've not been as draw heavy as the likes of Blackpool, Huddersfield and Wigan has actually suited them and has meant that they've been able to make up a little bit of ground on those teams. 3 wins in the calendar year so far, obviously a fantastic one against Bristol City last time. Over these last couple of weeks we have sort of seen Sunderland's top 6 aspirations slip away from them, and this speaks to the sort of level they're playing at the moment. 16th in the table based on this calendar year, 3 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses. Does feel like the components are there for Sunderland, with maybe a one or two more additions. I'm really excited about this side and how it can progress maybe going into next season, because we have to remember this is a newly promoted side who I don't think a lot of us expected to be this good originally when they first came up to the Championship. It's all building blocks. I know the weekend wasn't great for them against Stoke, but there's much more positives to be taken from this Sunderland season than negatives. My team Preston North End sort of bang in the middle of the table, whereabout I'd expect us to be 15th in the form table at the moment based on the calendar year, 13 points from 10 matches. What's been the biggest frustration with North End fans all year though is our inability to hit the back of the net, and that's backed up by the numbers here. Just 7 goals scored in the calendar year of 2023, and from open play especially, we've really struggled this season to break down teams. When considering the race for the top 6 at the moment, it's really interesting that West Brom are all the way down in 14th on the form table. Yes, they have played one game less than some of the other teams that we're going to discuss who are further up the table at the moment, and it is quite fine margins between a lot of these sides. But West Brom, after a lightning fast start under Cole Brown, which completely catapulted them up the league table, there has been that bit more inconsistency about their play recently, and this suggests that 4 wins, 1 draw, 4 losses. Rotherham's recent run of results has massively boosted their survival chances to the point now where they've leapfrogged both Birmingham and QPR, not just in the form table but in the Championship table itself. And based on this calendar year, Rotherham have been playing like a comfortable mid-table side. 10 games played, 13 points, averaging more than a point per game, and yeah, really solid stuff there from the Millers. Stoke City just continue to baffle and confuse all of us, and this sort of speaks to that as well. 4 wins, 1 draw, 5 losses. Week to week, Stoke are very unpredictable to go ahead and put your finger on, but if you take a step back and look at the wider picture, during this calendar year so far, they have been performing like a sort of mid-table side, which I think a lot of us expected them to be at the start of the season. Slaven Bilic is under quite a bit of pressure at Watford at the moment. They're 11th in the form table based on the calendar year, 3 wins, 5 draws, 2 losses. The reason I think there is so much frustration around them is because of those 5 draws right there. It means that they have lost quite a bit of ground on the top 6, and the sides who have been a little bit more cohesive in the way they play and willing to risk a little bit more for the 3 points. But by far and away the most interesting place in on today's video is Sheffield United, who are 10th in the Championship table based on the calendar year of 2023. Of course, they do have that game in hand to play tonight against Reading. Should they win that game, that will boost them up the rankings, but not to the point of which some other Championship sides have been playing during this year so far. They do find themselves in a sticky patch at the moment, which, to be fair to Sheffield United, pretty much every team that goes and finishes in an automatic spot will have that run of patchy results throughout a season. I remember a very similar point that Bournemouth had last season under Scott Parker. Eventually they got over that and obviously got over the line in the end. So Sheffield United will be hoping that a similar sort of season unfolds for them, but 14 points, it's a lot less than Middlesbrough picked up this season, let me tell you that. And then in 9th place we have Hull City. Interesting one for Hull, because prior to that win against West Brom, we were speaking about Hull that they had tailed off a little bit, hadn't been scoring as many goals and things like that, but over the calendar year so far, really promising stuff, and still are operating in and around like a playoff side. Obviously it wasn't the greatest of starts to the season for Hull, but since Rossini has come in, I think he's laid a lot of solid foundations to the point of where next season I'm quite optimistic for their chances of how much they could actually improve under him. Similar sort of case with Bristol City as well. It's been a consistent ride for them in 2023. Their first loss of the new year coming at the weekend against Cardiff. Typical fashion really, a game that means a lot to the fans. Is the first one they went ahead and lost, but 4 wins, 4 draws, only 1 loss in the calendar year. I don't think there can be many grumblings about that, especially considering how different the narrative was just a few months ago at Bristol City surrounding Nigel Pearson. Thinking over that Christmas period especially, when they had really tailed off, they've managed to turn things around quite drastically since then. This is what we're all interested though. How are the playoff teams currently performing, and how in form are each of them at the moment? And let me just tell you, there's not a lot between these sides. In 7th place on the form table at the moment we have Millwall, who have picked up 18 points during this calendar year so far. 5 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses. Was the quite damning result against Norwich, losing that game, but I do think they've got 3 really winnable matches coming up next, and if they manage to take full advantage of those 3, they're bang in in terms of the promotion picture. Another side who is banging the promotion picture at the moment is Coventry. It's been a fantastic run of form recently, unbeaten run, stringing together victories. Gyökeres is on brilliant form at the moment, one of the most prolific forwards in the Championship. Hamer continues to pull the strings from midfield, and considering how light they have been in a few positions recently, it's a real credit to Mark Robins in there, who's been getting a tune out of this squad. There's quality dotted throughout it, but considering what they're up against, yeah, I give them a really good chance this season if they carry on this form. I think because of how Blackburn have been perceived in previous seasons, a lot of us have expected that natural regression in their results. I think because it's been so ingrained with us that that's what happens, you know, to Blackburn sides of years gone by under Tony Mowbray. Would be a brilliant start to the season, but second half of the year, everything would sort of collapse in on itself. But I've actually been more convinced by Blackburn's performances in the new year than I had been previously. Really good at holding on to leads. Only one loss during this calendar year so far. And that win against Sheffield United especially really shows how serious this Blackburn side are to be taken. This Norwich side I definitely think are here to be taken seriously under David Wagner as well. Dare I say it, had he been in from the start of the season and they hadn't had that sort of inconsistent period under Dean Smith, I do think this Norwich squad is good enough to be rubbing shoulders with the sides currently gunning for automatic promotion. I think there is the quality and know-how, experience in that squad and things like that, but because of their inconsistent start, they've had to play catch-up. Only one Championship side has scored more goals than Norwich in the calendar year of 2023, and that speaks to some of the fluid football they're playing at the moment. Third in the form table for the calendar year of 2023, we have Luton Town. It's been a brilliant 2023 for them so far. Under Rob Edwards, they continue to churn out the results, and even in those matches where they have drawn or lost, it's very rarely I watch a Luton game and I think they've not really put a shift in there, or it's not been a great performance. A lot of the matches where they've not picked up maximum points, I think on a different day that could have been completely different, you know, especially thinking back to that game against Preston, which they definitely should have won. The game against Burnley, I thought they were very unlucky not to get something from as well. So yeah, Luton going about their business really well. The top two does make for interesting reading though. In second place for the calendar year, we have Burnley, who have picked up 24 points from the 10 matches they played during this year so far. Burnley are at a point now where they are so far clear of everyone else that it's up to them themselves to make that motivation for them. We had, you know, a similar occurrence with Fulham last season where they were so far clear of third place that clearly did affect them, because there was a serious tail off in their results from the point in which promotion was pretty much guaranteed until the end of the season. You know, we were speaking about that Fulham side like they could have gone on to get 106 points last season and go ahead and match the record. Didn't get anywhere near that in the end because of that motivation factor that had faded in the second half of the season. But with Burnley, I still think it's there. They're the only side in this calendar year who haven't lost a match so far, and that speaks to the consistency they're playing at. But coming in at the top of the tree, of course, we have Middlesbrough, and this is why Sheffield United fans will no doubt be getting a little bit twitchy at the moment. I know that Middlesbrough have played one more game than they have in this calendar year so far, but they picked up 10 more points than Sheffield United have during 2023, and that massive swing, if you know these sides were to continue to play at the levels they are doing at the moment, Middlesbrough will leapfrog Sheffield United. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but they have been so much fun to watch under Michael Carrick. They've scored more goals in the calendar year of 2023 than any other Championship side, and because of their superior goal difference to Burnley during this year, they've also picked up more points and have a better goal difference than any other Championship side as well, which really is a testament to the levels they are playing at the moment. And had Carrick been in from the start of the season, who knows what the Championship might look like right now. But guys, there we have it. That is the league table based on the calendar year of 2023. Any surprises in there for you? Do let me know down below. And how much do you think this will change by the end of the season? Do you think there's any sides down at the bottom who are going to surge up the league, or do you think any who are going to drop off? Let me know down below. Apart from that though, guys, that will now wrap it up for today's video. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, do stick around and subscribe for some regular Championship content, and I'll see you all in the next one.